when we talk about the mouth, the basic thing is the foul odor, the offensive odor. All discharges of Merc Sol are offensive, especially the breath. The teeth are in a bad state. There is early caries of the teeth. Not only caries, the teeth turn black and they become loose because the gums are swollen, or what we say, the spongy gums. Anytime you try to brush the teeth, anytime the patient tries to brush the teeth or clean the gums with his, even with fingers, you will find the gums are bleeding, or they can be pus in the gums, the offensive smell. The tongue is flabby with imprints of teeth. The teeth have imprints on tongue, and the taste is metallic taste. Now, what is a metallic taste? If you take a coin in your mouth and keep it in your mouth, you will develop a metallic taste. The same taste you have in murk. Then the as I told you, the imprints of teeth, flabby tongue, excessive salivation. Now here is a peculiar complaint of Merc Sol. Excessive salivation with great thirst. Now excessive salivation without thirst is ipecac, and no salivation with no thirst, dry mouth with no thirst is pulsatilla. So here, these are the peculiar complaints of particular remedies, and this remedy, when we talk about murk, this is got excessive salivation with great thirst. Excessive salivation, great thirst. Then the throat is worse, especially at night. The tonsils can be, there can be an abscess of the tonsils. They can be abscess of the tonsils and cannot swallow. Swallowing is difficult. Even the mucus which comes out of the throat is yellowish green and offensive. Offensive mucus, yellowish green mucus which comes out of the throat. Then the cough. The cough affects especially at the night. The fever is at the night. The cough is worse in the night. So it's not during sleep. During sleep, when we say aggravation during sleep, that is lachesis during sleep. We are not talking about an action, we are talking about the time from sunset to sunrise. So you have cough worse in the night with a lot of mucus that is yellowish green and it is offensive. It is offensive. The discharge is offensive. Then we have pain especially in the breast before menses, or they say there can be milk, there can be secretion of milk in the breast before menses. Now this is again a peculiar complaint or Merc Sol where formation of milk can be there in the breast or tenderness of the breast before menses. So normally we think of pulsatilla because pulsatilla is having uh, post menopausal syndrome, premenopausal syndrome, where before menses, her whole body becomes stiff and tensed up, and the moment the menses start, she feels better. But Merc is not so. Merc is worse during menses, especially there can be secretion of milk from the breast, especially during menses. Then, when we go to the stomach, you'll realize that it has got great thirst, like, but there's excessive salivation, great thirst. So he has a constant desire to drink water, and further on he develops. He has a thirst, and then after drinking all this water, there can be tenesmus, which is before, during, and after stools. Tenesmus before, during, and after stools. So this tenesmus is more the blood sol, Merc Sol is indicated, more the mucus, Mercor is indicated. So these two, the very important complaints here, where the Merc Sol and Mercor, Mercor is more corrosivous, that's why there is more mucus in Mercor, whereas Merc Sol is more blood. Now, when does this condition come up? Especially when there is a change of altitude. Suddenly, if you go, for example, you go by plane from Mumbai to Leh Ladakh. Of course, if you go directly to Leh Ladakh, so that means you are going almost 12,000. Mumbai is at the sea level, that is zero. And from there, you fly suddenly to Leh Ladakh, and it is 12,500 feet. So they say first 2 days in Leh Ladakh, you have to sit in one place, not even carry a luggage. Ask the porter to carry a luggage. Don't walk much, and drink a lot of warm water. Drink a lot of warm water because there's a lot of sudden change in the altitude. If you go by car, that problem is not so severe, but when you go by flight, that problem can be very severe. And here, because change of altitude, if the if the higher altitude dysentery sets in, then we can the role of Merc Sol starts here. Because if the high altitude dysentery, Merc Sol will certainly cure it, and you'll feel much better. So Merc Sol, whenever there's a change of altitude, because I told you, mercury is a metal which is highly sensitive to the pressure changes and temperature changes. That's why a Merc patient always wants, he always, though he's sweating a lot, but he sweats a lot, but cannot tolerate cold because he has a creeping sensation of cold on the back, as if the cold is creeping along the back. So it has got both extremes. You cannot tolerate too cold or too warm. So here in Merck, we have this extremes of temperature, extremes of as aggravation to the extremes of temperature. That's why I said Merck is highly sensitive to pressure changes and temperature changes. So temperature is again Merck Sol, and pressure changes when you go from one altitude to a higher altitude, or from higher altitude you come down to the lower altitude, and if you have a problem, you think of Merck Sol. Then the ulcers all over the body. There can be multiple ulcers on the body, which are ragged. The edges are rough edges or ragged edges with lardaceous base. Now, what is lardaceous base? Lardaceous base is when there is a base of pustular base, yellowish base at the base of the ulcer, and these ulcers have, I mean, they are pain. The pain is worse, especially in the night, and they can be severe pains. You hear the night pains with night temperature, night sweating, and loss of weight because there is a generalized emaciation in the mouth. And of course, the destructive tendencies like we have generalized trembling. As I told you last time, in the first lecture, it is one of the remedies for Parkinson's, where the dopamine is destructed in the brain or the nerves are destructed. The nervous system is on the destructive verge where the whole body starts trembling, and it is one of the symptoms of Parkinson's. So Parkinson's, you will have trembling of the limbs, and Merck trembling continues during sleep or even during when he's awake, the trembling continues. But that's not the case. See, now here trembling. Some people are some people are very fond of moving their feet. So that is not a restless feet. That comes in zincum. But when we talk about trembling, trembling is when trembling is when you have uh, tremors in the hands and feet, even the head also moves, and that is a sure sign of destruction of the nerves. And uh, whenever the trembling is better during sleep, it is agaricus. It is agaricus. Dulcimium also got trembling, but dulcimium trembling is because of apprehension. Merc trembling is because of destruction of the nerves, and agaricus has got better during sleep. That is a very important complaint of agaricus. So whenever he is awake, there's a trembling. Whenever he is awake, is a trembling. When he sleeps, the trembling stops in agaricus. So here we have a variety of symptoms here, where variety of remedies here, where we can select from them in case you do come across any problem, any patient of Parkinson's. So in Parkinson's, I would always I would always recommend that you please find out the exact symptomatology, and if you find the symptomatology, you should be able to treat Parkinson's in a more successful way than by replacing dopamine given by the neurophysicians. I'm not against neurophysicians, my dear. They have their own way of treating, and we have our own way of treating. So why not believe in ourselves and do our own job? Yeah. So here, then we have, as I told you, destruction. The destruction can go to the bones also. There's something called osteomyelitis. Osteomyelitis, where while walking you आपको अगर कहीं चोट आ गई या ठेस म्हणतो आपण मराठीमध्ये ठेस लागली ठेस लागल्याने there's a fracture. No, this is not heard of, because we all we stay in a country like India, and in India we don't have a lot of even surfaces unless there's a five-star hotel. So here, in case while walking on the road, also on the footpath, there's some stone pavement which has come up, and while walking, you just bang your feet, and then suddenly there's a fracture. So this is because of osteomyelitis. There's a pain in the bones, especially worse at night, where the bones can there can be a pathological fracture, because bones are supposed to be a very hard structure, but here one जराशी ठेस लागली, slight you bang your feet on something, and suddenly there is a fracture, and that is again a very serious matter. So that means there is a destruction of the bones, destruction of the skin, destruction of the hair, destruction of the teeth, destruction of teeth can be again a very serious matter, because in the whole of our human body, the hardest material is the enamel, and that enamel is destroyed, and the teeth goes through early caries. The teeth go through early caries. So here you can imagine amount of destruction this Merc Sol is doing. Then destruction of the mind, because he becomes destructive. Either he becomes impulsive, either to kill someone or to kill someone else, like suicide or homicide. Both are there in Merc Sol. So that is destruction of the mind. Then we have destruction of the teeth, as I told you, hair, skin, bones, where osteomyelitis can set in, and then there can be destruction of the nerves, where again there's a trembling, generalized trembling all over. So, and he sweats a lot. Of course, his sweats has got bad smell. He sweats profusely, and plus sometimes he has this sensation as if there's a cold, creeping cold on part of his body. So that is also there in Merc Sol. So here we come across a remedy with so much destruction in it, and then you realize that yes, we cannot miss Merc Sol whenever it is needed. And I'm opening up the windows, my dear friends, so you can view. I'm opening up the gallery view. You can ask me some questions if you like to. Yeah. Any questions? Any questions?
Hello.
Yes, please.
Sir, role of Merc Sol in the skin complaints. Last time actually I was asking, but then there was a lot of network issue.
Right. Skin complaints, basically there are ulcers in the skin. So it can there are ulcers in the skin where the edges are always ragged or irregular edges. They are not round like kalipai. They are uneven edges with offensive discharge from the ulcers and lardaceous base, and worse in the night. The pains are always worse in the night. That is a very important complaint of Merc Sol, or important modality of Merc Sol. Anything else? Hello. Well, I think there are a lot of bouncers today. Most of the things have not been understood.
No, sir, it's a good revision of Merc.
Okay, okay, okay. Fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Shall we close the lecture?
Okay, sir.
Bye.
Bye bye.